On the last leg of an intensive overseas trip, my flight departing Dubai will be in close proximity and within similar airspace of the repatriation flight of the late Alex Salmond. I happened to come across this some 5 months later when I was backing up disk space that I came across video notes I had made to myself from the flight, which got me checking my notes, and after making a lot of manual calculations to confirm my suspicions, if Alex's flight was actually in the vicinity of my aircraft, everything checked out. I made an error writing down my timings as Greenwich Mean Time instead of British Summer Time, but my camera data confirms all my calculations as correct. I, however, photographed from my window for the entire flight, as I had been following the news, and I also had a particular gut instinct that Alex's flight would be somewhere relatively nearby to my aircraft, up there in the wide open expanse of deep blue sky. This is a story where an event meets a coincidence, the event being that of the untimely and sudden death of Alex Salmond happening overseas, and the coincidence being that my return flight to the UK, whilst booked months in advance and therefore a fixed point in time in future relative to the point of booking, when it just happened to coincide that our flight would depart much earlier from further afield, would end up being at the exact same altitude and within about 6 to 10 minutes of flight time from each other on the exact same route for around 300 miles. What makes it personal is that I was also the contracted photographer for Alp Party's first election campaign when the party launched back in 2021. I am seen from the Sky News camera footage photographing Alex and Neil before setting up a group photo. These were my last photographs of Alex taken back on the 30th May 2024. A number of months later, the 12th of October 2024, Scotland's former First Minister Alex Salmond was in Ohrid, North Macedonia, attending a conference as a panel guest where he suffered a sudden and fatal heart attack despite the very best efforts by paramedics to save his life. He tragically died that afternoon. Following Alex Salmond's death, an immediate post-mortem was carried out confirming cause of death was a heart attack. In the immediate days following, discussions focused on repatriating Alex's body back home to his loved ones. Calls to the UK authorities were made on his behalf by close friends and colleagues, such a request being made to the Royal Air Force, which was denied on grounds of royal protocol and the high operational costs of such a flight being around the £600,000 figure. Sir Tom Hunter, a Scottish businessman and philanthropist who was a friend of Alex, came forward entering discussions, offering to pay for the repatriation flight back. A private jet was secured and the flight scheduled to depart Friday morning, 18th of October 2024. In a statement, Sir Tom said, "Whilst he and I disagree on some of his ambitions, Alex Salmond devoted his life to Scotland and the Scottish people, and as such he, and importantly his family, deserve the dignity and privacy of a private return to the home of his birth." With much public and media interest, the privately chartered Embraer regional jet aircraft, owned and operated by operator AirX, was that day the world's most tracked flight, where it took off from Ohrid, North Macedonia at 11:30 am local time, landing into Aberdeen, Scotland just before 2 p.m. As the jet touched down at Aberdeen, already waiting to receive Alex was a group of close family and friends standing on the tarmac. Cross-referencing all of my camera data timestamps, the departure board at Dubai Airport confirms my camera phone is correctly synchronised at 3:52 am on local time. Furthermore, when I photographed the sunrise at 6:25 am, checking the website timeanddate.com also confirms correct time, and confirms that the sun was actually just above the horizon, being only 1 degree above and rising, which I manually used to map out the flight track and take into account any time discrepancies such as the 30 odd minutes it took from pushback, taxi and takeoff. We taxi onto the threshold runway 30 right in preparation for imminent departure from Dubai International Airport in the United Arab Emirates. You can hear from the sounds of the engines that the pilot is adjusting the N1 of the engine throttles, about to deliver full takeoff power. Once I performed all my manual calculations several times, confirming the position of my flight, I then checked with known fixed point positions for Alex's flight, namely every time its flight track crossed a border, I measured this and triangulated that with my flight to confirm the positioning of each flight in relation to each other's flight tracks at any given point. This was an interesting landmark from the air and a good landmark to use for my calculations. It shows the border where the countries of Serbia along with Bosnia and Herzegovina meet, with the geographical border, that being the River Sava. Well over an hour ago, our lunchtime meal was served somewhere over the Adriatic region. I toasted a glass of my white wine towards the window into the deep blue beyond, as cloud blanketed all below over Central Europe, as we fly over German airspace. A welcome break in the white featureless carpet of cloud below, affording the view of another notable feature from above and one of Europe's largest rivers, the River Rhine. The River Rhine with the German town of Wesel. We are flying approximately 6 to 10 minutes flight time ahead of Alex's flight at the same exact altitude of 40,000 feet, before heading over more cloud as we bid farewell to German airspace, entering Netherlands airspace. It can also be said that many other people also shared the same airspace for a period of time, notably the 500 people on my flight, and also the other flights flying minutes immediately and in front and behind of Alex's repatriation flight. All of these people most probably oblivious to what was happening outside of their windows, as they all consumed their personal in-flight entertainment via their noise-cancelling headphones.